Tomorrow, we're holding the Sky News Antisemitism Summit, and we've taken your ideas on board. We've had nearly 900 emails with your brilliant ideas to tackle anti-Semitism. Now, you can watch it live on the Sky News election channel or on our website, that's skynews.com.au. It's from 1 o'clock until 5 o'clock. And I'm going to show you the highlights from John Howard, Peter Dutton, Justice Michael Lee, Josh Frydenberg and more here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Now, one person who really would have loved to attend our summit was billionaire James Packer, but he can't, he's overseas. So I spoke to him about this issue in an exclusive interview. Here's our chat. James Packer, thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure, Sharri.
Well, firstly, what's your reaction to this anti-Semitism explosion we're seeing in Australia?
Well, it's a reaction of horror. I mean, I'm a proud Australian, obviously, and I will always be a proud Australian. And one of the great things about being a proud Australian is that it's such an egalitarian country. And you know, I lived in Australia for the first 45 years of my life. And there wasn't, you know, I didn't experience racism, and I had so many Jewish and have so many Jewish friends, and to see this this occurring the way it is at the moment is just, it's horrifying.
Well, the most recent incident that shocked everyone was that video of two nurses in a public hospital saying they would kill and have killed Israelis. To think that nurses in a public hospital are filled with this racism and hatred, I mean, it just makes you shudder, doesn't it?
No, it's a scene from a Hollywood movie. It's not something that you could believe was a real life situation. It doesn't sound plausible. You wouldn't believe it could be true.
Yeah,
it's beyond imagination. It's that terrible. It's that terrible. Obviously, what the hatred is, so, you know, the hatred. I mean, we're dealing with hatred that's thousands of years old, and that's, you know, that's obviously the tragedy of what's going on at the moment, and it's such a complex situation. I think we're all more hopeful probably than we were a couple of months ago. I think the change of government in America is at least going to bring some impetus to the situation. But it's clearly it's been a horrific period, and it's just awful. It's awful, and from every side.
Well, you referred to new President Donald Trump. To hear him say, we're not going to put up with Hamas supporters on university campuses, it's such a breath of fresh air. We haven't had that leadership in Australia, and everyone seems to be tiptoeing around the problem. University chancellors don't want to call it out. No one seems to want to take responsibility here.
And I think that's really disappointing, because it's things like the Holocaust should be in the curriculum for, the education curriculum. But, it's hard to imagine anything more horrific that's ever happened to a religious, there's half the Jews in the world were obviously killed in the Second World War. It should be taught. It should be taught widely. People should know about it. And the fact that it's been taken out of the curriculum in certain places is wrong.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I just want to ask you, James, about how the police recently found a caravan filled with explosives. If it would have been detonated, they say it would have created a 40-metre blast wave. That sort of terror event, and Peter Dutton and the Premier Chris Minns have said this would have been a mass casualty event had it been detonated. You think about something like that, if it would have happened, I mean, that would have permanently changed not just the Jewish community, but all of Australia forever.
No, no. I mean, of course it would. You know, you go back to what happened in Tasmania when John Howe, I forget, I should remember the guy's name, but when the massacre
Yeah,
occurred and
Port Arthur
John,
massacre. Yeah.
yeah, the Port Arthur massacre. I mean, that changed Australia, and John Howard deserves a lot of credit for that. But I mean, if something horrific happened, along the lines you're talking about with the caravan, that would have obviously been horrific, and nothing would have come out of that. Don't get me wrong; it was a very bad analogy.
Mm.
Nothing good would have come out of that. It just would have been horrific, horrific.
Yeah. Just finally, do you have a message for other Australians? You've got the courage to speak up about this important issue. Do you think more Australians need to say, we're just not going to stand for this hatred?
I think everyone should try and be tolerant. I think, trying to be tolerant is, and it's easier said than done. And I get to do that from a position of privilege. And so I try and remember how lucky I am every day, and try and remember and try and do that through being grateful about how lucky I am. But if you can be tolerant, that's what we need. We need more religious tolerance. We need more tolerance in a whole set of areas in life. But we certainly need more religious tolerance. This is not the right way forward. What's happening at the moment.
Really appreciate your time, James Packer. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all your great contribution.
We're so grateful for James Packer's support. He would have loved to have been at the summit, and I think his message there of tolerance is a very important one. Also love his idea about having Holocaust education return to the school curriculum. Can you believe it's no longer compulsory in every state around the country? New South Wales has said they're going to put it back in the school curriculum starting in 2027. I mean, this is part of the issue. Young people today, they just don't understand the past. They don't have the facts. They don't understand where anti-Semitism can lead. But we're very grateful to James Packer for his support.